Hi everyone, just hanging out with the kids at the park. Thought I would check in and talk to you guys for a minute. A couple of things, I guess, that I was thinking about today. One is communication, because dogs can communicate so clearly without even any words, although some of them do have quite a lot to say. But communication is just so key, and especially with people, having clear communication can save people a lot of misunderstandings or hurt feelings and things like that. So it's so important to have your own voice. Car, honey. So anyway, they love that little car. That little Jeep over there is so cute. Anyway, they're fascinated with it. Back to what I was saying. Communication is so key. It really does stop a lot of misunderstandings. And for instance, this was a very valuable lesson that I learned in Maui. And yes, I probably talk about Maui too much, but I just loved it, and I learned so much, or relearned, or at least brought to light a lot of things for me. And in this instance, for instance, I wanted to go to Maui, so I went ahead and paid everything for me, my family, my son's autistic, my father, whatever, all that. I paid 2 months in advance so that I would not have to worry at all about money while I was gone, or when I got back, having to worry or hustle. So I realized that I had to post to get a roommate. The event coordinator had already gotten us an incredible discount on the rooms, and so I posted, and a roommate popped up, just beautiful lady, and so we were going to share a room. At that time, she said, count on it being about $225 to $250. For each of us, plus probably some taxes, maybe some key fees or deposits and such. So, okay, that's very clear. Then a third lady contacted me, and she also was looking to go and would need a roommate. And so I thought, oh wow, maybe splitting this 3 ways could benefit us even more. But I'm not very well traveled, and the room coordinator, let's call her Sally, just for the sake of names. Sally educates me very well and says, well, it's not really going to save money because $89 a night would be added on. And I said, yes, but if I share my bed with her. She said, no. And I understand. It might complicate things, or maybe she doesn't know that person. And of course, I don't really know her either, but we'd been trying to get to know each other a little through messaging. She's just such a beautiful lady. So, okay, no worries. So I manifested, and even though my ego told me otherwise, I was able to manifest enough that I would have $300 a day. I wanted to make sure I had enough for taxes, any incidentals, anything that I might not know about, since I'm not very well traveled. Well, it wasn't a few days only after that, I was notified. I was not asked, I was not consulted, that I would now be a third roommate by Sally. Sally says, you're now going to be a third roommate, and you're going to have your own file. We don't want any of your taxes, key charges, lost towels, lost key, anything to affect our shared file. Sally, and let's call her Debbie person, we're going to be on one file. You're going to have your own. Okay, no problem. I am so grateful that I get to go. I get to experience this with 2 beautiful ladies. Oh, and by the way, make sure that you either arrange to get a cot from the front desk, or bring an air mattress or whatever, because you're going to be on the floor. You won't be sharing a bed, and you will not have equal space in the room whatsoever. That's fine. Hey, I'm a great believer in good communication, good guidelines, and sometimes fences make better neighbors. So this is wonderful. No worries. I'm going to Maui. So it was just so awesome. So now I'm the auxiliary traveler, and I got my little camping air mattress, and I met the 2 beautiful women. I'd never met lady to Debbie, let's call her Debbie again, before. But I was just so excited, such beautiful, strong, gifted women. And I was assigned 2 small bottom drawers and a small corner underneath, like where the desk was. I didn't want to be in anybody's way. Plus, I was the auxiliary traveler. I had my own file, you know. So then, somewhere along the way, I think it was maybe Friday. Oh, no, wait. First thing is Sally immediately started having an issue with the front desk. And I guess they had put a hold on her card, as she thought that it might be because of my file. So we went down there to, speak to the front desk and verify and make sure that none of my costs were affecting their shared file. Of course, nobody wants that. And so that turned out that that wasn't the case. My file wasn't affecting theirs in any way, shape, or form. And I think it got resolved through her credit card company, just putting an extra hold, perhaps, for the currency exchange. I'm not even sure. I really can't speak to that. So then Friday late, I think, or some whatever, time's not really the issue or an effect. I got a very clear message, a photograph of a sticky note saying that I would owe a little over $700 as my share. And it specifically said, if you feel like you're being overcharged, let me know. And so, of course, she had already had an issue with the front desk. So I thought, well, maybe this doesn't quite add up to what I thought my file would be. So I should go speak to the front desk and just verify what's going on. So I go to the front desk, and sure enough, that was not the amount. The amount of my file was under $700 with taxes and everything, assuming I didn't lose a towel or destroy a bedding or whatever. It would have been under $700. So I let the ladies know. Well, I let Sally, person A, know. Not Debbie, because I really didn't have any communications with her at all about rooms, about money, about anything in the nature of room fees and so forth. So I wrote to Sally, texted her back, and I said, yes, I am confused, and, I would like some clarification. Yes, please. So I got no reply. None, zero. And during all this, I had spoken, of course, when I went to clarify my amount, with the concierge, and he had told me that if I went and viewed one of their other properties, I could get a $200 voucher off my Maui room bill. And I was like, what? Wow, that's incredible. Of course, yeah, sure. So I went and viewed the room, and I got the voucher. So I was so proud that I got to manifest more money off of my amount. That's incredible. And while I was there viewing that room on Saturday, then they also gave me the option to purchase what they call points. And if I purchased the points, I would get even more money discounted off the room. And so I did. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So Sunday, I went, and again, the ladies were near the desk, so I went near the desk too, hoping maybe we could talk about, at least with Sally, since I had no agreements with Debbie, at least maybe Sally and I could, go up to the front desk. And she again says, basically no, ignores me, doesn't reply, and says, we're going to pay at 11, and that's final, basically. So, okay. All right. Well, we started to go to the class. They had gone before me. And as I was getting on the elevator, I got the call. My father, family member, had passed. So I had to catch some early flights back. And anyway, I went ahead and paid my bill out. Do you know that I had actually ended up manifesting it down under $300? It was, I think, $227 with all my points applied and my vouchers. So, I mean, that shows you the power of manifesting. It truly does. Like, I'm like living proof you can manifest your reality. You really, truly can. And so I left a message there to thank the ladies, and I also left an extra $100 on their shared bill because I had just been so grateful and they were just so wonderful. I wanted to gift that to them. I had gotten money taken off of mine. I wanted to pay it forward. In my heart, I just, out of love, I just wanted to pay it forward. I mean, it was such a beautiful thing, way beyond what I could have wanted for myself. Like, I'm just trying to manifest a trip to Maui. My higher self, my guides, they took it way higher than I could have even imagined and got me vouchers and points and made me a floor mate and everything. And so they brought it way down. Okay. So a week later, I get a message from Sally saying, you skipped out on Debbie. Now you need to contact Debbie. You owe her money. What? You can imagine my confusion. I am so confused at this point. I've never had any conversation about money or rooms or the room being in Debbie's name or having any agreement with her whatsoever beyond just maybe surface conversations about her dogs and her dog, and her kid, and just little things, that you talk about. Nothing about rooms or money. So I'm very, very confused. And I let them know that. I let her know that because, again, I don't understand why she's saying I owe Debbie when it was Sally and I that had the arrangement that I was to have my own check, my own file, my own everything. They would have their own, period, end of story. So I was very confused by this. So there's a perfect example of how unclear communication can really, really, really confuse people and cause great misunderstandings. I still, to this day, do not understand how or why I was suddenly supposed to pay an entire third of the room, the entire bill, instead of just my file. Or was it pay my file plus a third of theirs as well? I'm not even sure what she had in mind because it was never communicated to me. It was never communicated anything to me except by Sally and only Sally, never Debbie, that I was to absolutely have my own file and make sure not a single penny touched their shared file. That were my instructions. That is what I honored. And unfortunately, I don't think by her message that is what she meant. But had she just taken 5 minutes to speak to me and communicate with me so that I understood, you know what I mean? First of all, I certainly didn't have the same amount of space. So, again, I have still to this day no idea why anyone feels that I did anything other than honor the agreement that I had made with Sally, and there was zero agreement with Debbie, so I'm just very confused even to this day. So be sure to speak your voice, and when you speak or have others speak for you, it can cause a lot of misunderstandings, and I'm it's very unfortunate. It really is. Just such beautiful, lovely women, and I hate that there was a misunderstanding. I still love them both very, very much, and I just wish that we would not have had a misunderstanding. So make your voice heard, communicate things clearly, and that would be my best advice. And just that, and know that, if you always come from a place of love, then you'll always have that compass. You know what I mean? That's your default space. Then your karmic compass is always gonna be solid. And while I may not ever understand what or why or something, the situation happened, that's okay. I let it go, and I took it as it's a lesson to make sure people communicate, which I did ask for. I really did. I asked for communication, I asked for clarification, and I did not get it. But that's okay. You know what I mean? It's still a really, really good lesson. So I guess I'm just going to take the rest of my lesson as to get outside and play like these little dogs do. and wish you guys have an awesome, awesome evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all so, so, so very much. And I wanted to take a moment to recommend a few pages, and I'll put them in the description as well. I'm new. I'm new to a bunch of these pages myself, but for example, Brian Scott's Reality Revolution. My gosh, fantastic. Just incredible, incredible page. Then if you go to skool.com, you can also find him, as well as Anne Marie. She's got an incredible page on alignment, and she is the most amazing teacher with breathwork and alignment and chakras, and she has studied this like her whole life. She's so incredible. I highly recommend it. And I'll also put in a couple other names in the description of just people I've run across on YouTube that just really, really share that love vibe and that sharing vibe. And I just want to share it with you. I hope you all have an awesome, amazing, amazing, blessed day, and an awesome weekend too. Bye-bye. And remember, all is one and one is all. It's the light way. And you guys, if we default to love, we will shine together. One soul.